and I'm taking that as a victory, I'll tell you what. Hey, welcome to my channel. My name is Ken and I'm on a journey to lose as much weight as I possibly can so I can become a fat guy no more. Well, holy cow, it is December already. Time is flying by. It seems like the months go by faster and faster the older you get, and I think they really do. I think they really do, but it is now December 3rd already. This is crazy, absolutely crazy. Of course, it's December 3rd. Possibly if you're watching this the day I release it. For me, it's still the end of November because I am recording this on Saturday like I always do. But man, by the time you watch this, we'll be into December and the holiday season will be upon us. So I have already broke out my first Christmas shirt. Of course, we're going with the classic, A Christmas Story. Absolutely love that movie. I like the second one too, A Christmas Story or whatever it was called. That was really good. Really appreciate the whole story of family and everything about it. Just, yeah, it is great. If you watch it every year like I do, why don't you comment down below and let me know. Are you a geek like I am where Christmas Eve into Christmas Day, you got to do the 24 hours on TBS and TNT? Man, we've done that for years, absolutely for years. Of course, now we also flip it over to It's a Wonderful Life and watch that as well. So that's a big thing. We might actually go see It's a Wonderful Life in the movie theater this year on Christmas Eve. It's going to be showing locally, so that's something we might do. That is my wife's all-time favorite movie. So this past week, I had a double whammy hit with me. Let's see. First off, it was prison week. You know, that's the week where I have to work in the building, you know, at work. And then we had a holiday, right? Thanksgiving here. So I was looking forward to this week because I love Thanksgiving. I absolutely love Thanksgiving. It gives me a great excuse to cook, and I love cooking. But being in the building this week presented a lot of challenges because I'm there instead of here, so I can't get as much done on my breaks and lunches. And we also know what being in the building does for me typically when it comes to weight. So I was wanting to see what this double whammy would do for me, and I think I survived it pretty good, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But before I go any further, I want to say thank you so much to everybody that has come by and watched these videos. Thank you for hitting that subscribe button. If you haven't already, if you would, click it down below for me there. It is free to do, of course. I am working my way towards the next milestone when it comes to being on YouTube, and that is 4,000 watched hours. Not too far away, just a few hundred. I'd love to get there thanks to you. What that means, you know, not a whole lot except for it gives you a little bit more credibility. That first step in credibility was 1,000 subscribers. Thanks to you, I've passed that. The next one is 4,000 watched hours within a 1-year period of time. Like I said, we're a few hundred away from that one, but it's coming up fast. With 1,000 subscribers, there's less than 9% of channels on YouTube that have it, so check. With the other, to have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours within a year, there's less than 6%, and we're close. We're getting close. So thank you so much for watching these videos. I greatly appreciate it. So for me, this week was all about Thanksgiving and getting ready for Christmas, to be honest. We've been decorating the house. You know, this is the latest that Thanksgiving can be in the year. It's always the fourth Thursday, but of course, it's the furthest back this year as it was on the 28th. So we get a little bit shorter Christmas season than usual. And so I started putting up our tree early. And then we kept decorating, and I think, you know, we actually put out a few things today, and there's still a few things that I haven't found that I want to get put out still. So we're getting close to having it done. But the rest of the time, it was all about building a menu to see what I was going to make for Thanksgiving. I always make pretty much the same main thing. It is a tofu turkey roll that I found a recipe for many years ago. And then the rest of the stuff just kind of comes together. So I put together a little video here I want to show you of what I made for my dinner. So let's check it out. I look forward to making this every single year since I found this recipe about 8-9 years ago. This is my tofu quote-unquote turkey roll. So again, I found this recipe online, but I do doctor it up to make it my own. So the basis of what I'm spreading out right there is 2 pounds of extra firm tofu that I put into my food processor with the holy trinity of Thanksgiving seasonings, sage, rosemary, and thyme. I put a little bit of some potassium chloride as well, since I really don't like to use salt in my cooking. And then some garlic powder and onion powder. And then nutritional yeast, vegan crack, full of nice good amounts of protein there. So I put some of it in with some cornstarch to kind of dry it out to make it more almost like a paste, as you can see. As you saw, it's a little hard to spread out. It's quite sticky. I tried using some water on my hands, didn't get too well with it. So I'm back to the spatula, and you just want to get it, pretty good size. No more than about 1/4 to a 1/2 inch thick, honestly, because when we roll it, it's going to look good. So watch this here. Once you get it rolled out there like how you like it, then you'll want to add your stuffing to it. So I made my own. This is some wheat bread, white bread that I dried out. Added to that a bunch of vegetables, mushrooms, roasted red peppers, onions, water chestnuts, and I even have in here some vegan sausage. Mix that with some veggie broth. Oh my goodness. So now you want to create a nice little path down the middle here for this to be stuffed into your turkey, right? So put as much as you want. I usually don't put a whole lot. This year I thought I would try putting a little extra in there just to see how it would turn out. And I think it turned out pretty good. We'll see here in a moment. But then once you get it stuffed, you're going to want to roll it together. This is literally the most complicated part of making this recipe, is because you want to bring these edges together to where those two parts there of the tofu form a seal. So you have a nice roll. Now, as you see, I'm kind of trying to squash it down here, just patting that tofu down, trying to get it to come together. But as we'll notice here on this far right, as I try to peel it a little bit, on the left there first, I guess, I notice it there that it didn't quite come together. So now I'm just going to force it together, and then I'll roll it down super tight so it holds. And that's the key to getting this to seal really good. So now, like I mentioned earlier, you could see there on the right where it's coming apart. So now I come over here and do the same thing as I did on the left. Just tighten it down, fold that parchment paper under until you get a nice seal. You'll be able to tell. You can feel it. You know that it's coming together. So you want it really tight. Then we want to set it aside. It kind of looks like a big old sub sandwich at this point, right? So we'll set it aside, and then we want to roll it in some foil. We're going to end up cooking this thing in the oven for about 90 minutes at 425 degrees. And so we want there to be a really good tight seal of some foil on it. So we're going to wrap it just like a baby almost, but turn it into like a piece of candy. Pull it tight and then roll it good, and then fold in your corners as if it was a giant Tootsie Roll. See that? Just like that. So once you've got that sucker is heavy. That is a behemoth. Put it on your baking sheet. Into the oven it goes. Again, it'll be in the oven for 90 minutes at 4 1/4. Once it comes out, you want to let it cool and then go straight into the fridge all night long. So this is now the next day, and I'm unwrapping it. You can see it's set up really good. You got to be careful when you pull that apart, especially if you do like me. See how it kind of tucked under and into the roll there a little bit. This never looks pretty the way I do it, but trust me, it tastes amazing, and that's why I keep doing it. So you got to be careful as you're pulling this off of there, especially after it's cooled. It'll kind of stick to it. But all the care in the world makes it worth it once you get it done. Now see how that's just coming apart there really good. Looking good. Just got to be careful. That bottom got a little extra done. I probably should have moved a little bit when it was in the oven. And of course I go to move the whole thing and it snaps in half. Oh well, it's helping me cut it in half because half of this will go into the freezer for later this year. So that's why I just cut it roughly down the middle, kind of where that seam broke on me. But now the reveal, and check out the stuffing here. Oh yeah, buddy. Look at that. Not too shabby, not a complete roll around. I don't mind. It tastes the same. Tastes really good to me. So let me show you what a full slice looks like here. This is roughly about what I will have for Thanksgiving. I call this roll about 12 servings, so that's what I'll get, 6 per half. And check this thing out. Just look at it. Yep. That looks good. Fairly decent. Maybe a little thin up top. But man, it is good. Good stuff. And like I said, I like to freeze half of this to where that way, somewhere in the middle of winter, I can pull out the other half and enjoy it too. So now I showed you this in my last video. These are my red lentil rolls in the oven. These things are absolutely amazing. not going to show you how to make them because I'll probably show that in another video, because I also use these for breakfast sandwiches. So I want to show you that when I do my breakfast sandwich video. But I can tell you this is another recipe I found online, and there is no flour in it, just red lentils, seasoning, and some psyllium husk. Absolutely amazing. Now check out this tray of goodness. Every year I love to make a roasted veggie tray. Every year it's just slightly different vegetables. This one I've got the multicolored carrots in there. I got some baby reds and baby yellow potatoes. I got some sweet potato. I got some turnips, some parsnips, some rutabagas, and some onions. Oh my. Toss that a little bit with some vegetable broth, and then add the holy trinity of seasoning on it. And then last but certainly not least, I made a vegan mushroom and onion gravy to go over some of those vegetables, some of the dressing, as well as that turkey roll. Oh my goodness. So here it is. This was my Thanksgiving dinner plate. You could see all the things I made. Of course, some of the extra dressing there. It's considered dressing because it's not stuffed, right? But I got my roll, I've got my carrots and my vegetables there, my turkey roll, extra dressing, and then down below there is just a little bit of my wife's broccoli casserole. And that is what I call an amazing, almost vegan Thanksgiving dinner. So yeah, that plate that we saw there came in at 613 calories. That's quite a bit for one meal, honestly, but again, it is Thanksgiving, so that's not bad. It had 34 grams of protein, a whopping 34 grams of fiber, 3,029 milligrams of potassium, but thanks to that little bit of broccoli casserole that my wife makes, it also had 752 milligrams of sodium. I don't cook with much sodium, but that, between the canned soup that she uses and the cheese and the regular butter, always has a ton of salt in it. So that's why I limited myself. In years gone by, my plate would have been about 3/4 of it. It would have been broccoli casserole, because that is amazing. It's not the holidays, especially Thanksgiving, without my wife's broccoli casserole. But this year, as I have in the last couple years, I learned how to limit myself and still be able to enjoy it. Now, don't let me kid you either. I did definitely have some pumpkin pie. We always get it from Costco because, you know, next to my mama's, that's the best pumpkin pie out there. Changed my mind. I mean, especially for a store-bought pumpkin pie, for the size of that thing. What is it, about like yay round? Is it $6.99, $5.99? I think it was $5.99 actually. $6. It's absolutely fantastic. You cannot go wrong with a Costco pumpkin pie. So we got it. That cut me, a piece probably about yay big, and yes, I had Cool Whip on it. So that was pretty heavy caloric, but I was ready for it. My week was showing me that I could have a little extra if I wanted to. So I was looking forward to that, and I enjoyed myself, because that's exactly what you have to do. You can't go through a weight loss journey like this, even on a GLP-1 medication, by telling yourself no all the time. You absolutely cannot do that. You have to enjoy. As much as I hate the expression YOLO, YOLO. You only live once. So enjoy it, but just know what it might do for you on the scale, or better, do to you. So be prepared for that, but still enjoy yourself as much as you can, but do it in moderation like I did. You saw my plate. There wasn't a whole lot of much of anything, but man, it was good and it satisfied me, and the leftovers were probably even better. So let's take a look at this week's number. As always, I got my phone here with me. It tells me my calories came in at 1,367. Yeah, that don't surprise me. Between the pie that I had over the last few days, a piece a day pretty much. That don't surprise me one bit, and that's not bad at all. My target is about 1,200 to 1,300, so that's just slightly over that with everything that I enjoyed, so I'm okay with that. So for the rest of my numbers, it looks like my protein for the week came in at 76 grams. I'm all right with that. Again, I'm trying to do more intuitive eating and more whole foods plant-based as best I can. I'm not strict on that, as we saw between that broccoli casserole and of course the pumpkin pie. What I'm trying to do is as best that I can. And so I'm just going to listen to my body this week. 76 grams is what it told me it needed on average, and that's what it got. My fiber is looking good at 43. It is down from last week's high of 51, but 43 is still very good, because again, anything above 35 I'm okay with, even though it shows a target there of 40, so 43 is all right. My potassium through an average of 5,855 milligrams per day. yeah, I'll take it. I'm actually going to up my target a little bit starting this next week since the doctor wanted me to take that potassium pill. So I want to try to get above 6,000 milligrams. So we'll see how that goes. You know, keep me honest. Comment next week. If I'm not above 6,000, remind me I'm supposed to be, would you? And my sodium came in at an average of 1,090 milligrams per day. Now, the biggest salt bombs that I had was that broccoli casserole that my wife made, as well as last Saturday when we went and saw Wicked in 3D. She got some popcorn, and I swore to myself I wasn't going to touch it. But I'll tell you what, there's just something about movie theater popcorn, so I kept reaching over, grabbing a little bit. And I probably ended up having roughly 5 to 6 handfuls of it, right? However much that ends up being. I tried my best to put that in based off of a large popcorn. She got, you know, the tub or whatever. But I tried figuring it out. I don't know. I may have had more salt than what it shows, or maybe I went over. I don't know. But I can tell you this much. The scale didn't like it at all. Let's talk about that. So yeah, I honestly think that the scale hated that amount of salt that I had last Saturday, because by Monday, I was up 11 pounds. 11 pounds up on Monday morning. Yeah, I don't know. It had to be the salt. It simply had to be the salt from that popcorn. So maybe I didn't put enough in. It was still about 2,000 milligrams, honestly, that I actually registered on there from that. So I thought that would be high enough. Hell, I don't know. Maybe not. But I was freaking thirsty Saturday and Sunday, and it showed. You know, it could tell that my sodium was up and way up. So, you know, the previous week, I think I was somewhere around the 550 to 600 mark, and I did that on purpose. So maybe it was just the difference of having that salt blast after so long without it. But either way, on Monday, I was up 11 pounds, and I was headed into prison week, worried that it was going to get worse. But it didn't. So I actually had a really good prison week this time. I did a lot more walking. I got up between calls as I could. Had that desk, you know, that you can move up and down. So I stood up quite a bit. I took some time on breaks to walk the floor. I went back and talked to my managers for a little bit, stood there talking to them. So I was on my feet that time for about 15 minutes or so. And then on lunch, I'd walk around a little bit and then relax too, just to waste some time. And I think I did pretty good. And then Thanksgiving hit, and I had all that salt from, from that broccoli casserole. And trust me, if you had her recipe, you'd be making it every year too, because it is amazing and it's worth it. But if you saw my plate, it was like just a little piece like that, right? There wasn't a whole lot on there. So either way, I did have some on Thursday and some on Friday, and I had a couple little bites earlier today, but I avoided eating it like I used to. And I think that's a victory in itself. But speaking of victories, I got on the scale this morning for my official weekly weigh-in, and I weighed 354 pounds. That's the exact same weight that I weighed last week, and I'm taking that as a victory. I'll tell you what, between prison week and Thanksgiving week and having stuff that I maybe should not have, but I still did it within my calorie ranges and everything else, I'm calling that an absolute victory. I'll take that one, pin that right here on my chest, because I feel freaking fantastic about that. Yep, I didn't go down. I had hoped I would. I didn't, but I didn't go up either. So to come out of the week of both of those things in 1 week is just amazing. Now, my next rotation week is actually going to be the week of Christmas. So you know there's going to be people bringing in food for that. And that's going to be tough too, because I love Christmas candy. I make an amazing peanut butter fudge. Man, I try to make less and less of that each year, but there are people that absolutely wait for that every year and actually ship some of that to other people back home in Washington because it's that famous. And I don't know why. I've taught them all how to make it. It's nothing fancy, but for some reason they love mine. And so I do it every year as a little Christmas gift to them. Plus I bring some into the building for people. Got a friend here in town, my bestie Angie, that looks forward to it every year. This year I surprised her. I actually took a slab of it, probably about this big. I froze it, vacuum packed it, threw it in the freezer. And then on half Christmas, I pulled it back out and I thawed it, cut it up, and I shared it with everybody, especially her. Oh man, that is so good. And that's one thing I'm gonna have to make sure I stay away from. Maybe I could try to see if I can make one using monk fruit sweetener, see how that turns out. Still gonna have to use, the peanut butter chip. So I don't know. Either way, my next rotation is the week of Christmas. So that's gonna present another challenge. But then we're headed into the new year after that. No excuses after that, right? January 1st or maybe the 2nd, depending upon how you look at it. Hardcore. Got to get back up on that treadmill because I haven't been on it for a while, and get into a normal routine and get back on things. So I'm looking at it as, if I can get through the holidays, no worse for the wear, either even or down, I'm going to call that a major victory, even if it's only 1 or 2 pounds down or even. So mark my words right here, 354 is where I'm at. Let's see where I am come January 1st. And then we'll determine how it went for me from there. But either way, man, just enjoy your holidays. It's the best time of the year. I freaking love this time of year, I have so much, honestly, to be thankful for. I have a lot coming up in the next few days that always makes me feel bad, feel sad, because Thanksgiving was the last holiday for my mom before she passed away. So this coming Monday will be the 16th anniversary of the day that she passed away. That's always a tough day for me, really tough. And so thankfully this year it is Cyber Monday. So I know at work we're going to be crazy slammed. So I really won't have much of a chance to think. So that's a good thing too. But I miss her. Oh, I miss her dearly. She taught me pretty much everything I know in the kitchen. I used to work beside her at a restaurant, and between at home and at that restaurant, she taught me so many amazing things. And she taught me how just, like they say, the way to somebody's heart is through their stomach. And I freaking love cooking, and it's because of her. She started us off young, learning how to cook, my brother and I. And I really just, I don't know, I picked it up. I picked that up from her, and I picked up my love of working with wood from my dad. There are so many things that I've made through the years that just, remind me of him. And when somebody else says, I can see your father in you, or I can see your mother in you, I take that personally and I thank them for it, because they were absolutely fantastic. My dad's been gone since 1986. And again, my mom passed away 16 years ago this coming Monday. So by the time you're watching this, it would have been yesterday. So it's been quite a while without him. My dad over half of my life. And so well over half my life, what is that? 2/3 of my life, so, it's a rough time, a rough season, but I try to focus on the positive. And right now, getting to share the holidays with you guys just makes it so much better for me. So thank you for that. We'll talk about Christmas memories as we get closer to Christmas. So be thinking about one of your favorite Christmas memories to share once I mention that here in a couple weeks. I'd really love to hear those, because I love hearing other people's stories. I love learning from other people. I love just bringing that all in. It just makes me a better person, I think, getting to hear from all y'all. So thank you so much for that. You know what? I'm going to wrap this up right here. Again, I call this week a victory. Absolutely. Even though I stayed even on the scale. I had that big drop the week before. 13 pounds, was it? So that could be part of the reason why I didn't do much this week, combined with prison week and Thanksgiving week. But to stay even, that's a victory. So I'm going to take it. All right, guys. Thanks so much for coming by and watching this video. I appreciate it. And as always, I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to follow me on my journey to become a fat guy no more, hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to hit that bell so you can get notifications every time I upload a new video.